Welcome to Mind Myself, Hilary Samuel. We are so excited to have you as part of our Mind Myself team. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Esther. I'm really excited to be part of this team and to be part of the Mind Myself team and to be here talking with you. It's really an honor. Thank you.
Excellent. And I know today you're coming to us from Mexico,
Yes,
but maybe tell us.
I'm not hiding it. You can see it in the back.
No, I love it. I love it. We're all humans together. And if you get to go to someplace awesome like that,
Yeah,
that's fabulous.
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about who you are, where you normally live, and your credentials and what you do.
Okay, sure. Well, I'm from Canada, from Ottawa in Canada. And right now I'm in Mexico and enjoying incredible time in Mexico and learning Spanish and this whole adventure, which is part of who I am, as you'll find out later. And in terms of my credentials, I am a national board certified health and wellness coach, and I've been trained as a functional medicine certified health coach as well. And that is my most recent career. So before that, I was a trainer and a facilitator and a coach in the corporate world. So I have a whole background in education and psychology and all of that I build on with my health coaching practice. And so I'll talk a little bit more about what I focus on and then say more about other credentials and toolkit pieces and stuff like that, if that's all right.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So in those credentials, what is it that you've decided to do? You made a big shift from the corporate world into the health world. Yes. So what is it that you do and why are you so passionate about it?
Well, what I do is I help people with sleep and what I call positive energy. So people who have problems with sleep, which is many of us, what they're yearning for is positive energy. So in order to get positive energy, we need to fix our sleep first. And so the reason I got into this, well, first of all, I love health. I'm passionate about health. I grew up in a family that really prioritized health. My mom always cooked her own meals, and my father was out jogging way before that was popular. Like, he was a very odd person jogging around the neighborhood when he was doing that. So just that whole notion of eating well and exercise, it's just built into how I've learned to live. And so I have that passion for health, and then decided to become a health coach. I've always been fascinated with psychology and helping people in that particular way, and the mental as well as the physical aspect of health. And I'm adding in that, and I'll talk about that a bit later, the spiritual aspect of it too. So I see that all as a package. And so I decided to become a health coach and train for that. And then I thought, well, okay, I'm pretty healthy. Like, what have I struggled with in life that I could really relate to my clients with? And that's sleep. And also I did struggle with depression and just staying motivated and on track. And so there's a whole lot of cluster issues that are kind of a bit of a profile of people that have insomnia, actually, that I struggled with. So I wanted to choose something that I myself have dealt with and overcome and know exactly what it's like to be in that situation and how to resolve it. And it really gives me a much better connection with my clients is coming from that perspective. So that's why I chose to help people sleep. And I have a better idea of all the other aspects of, sleep is a problem, but sort of the cluster issues around sleep that people struggle with, having that problem myself in the past.
Excellent. And tell us a little bit about how functional medicine fits in from your perspective.
Sure. Well, sleep is a component of health in general. Vital components become more and more something that people are aware of. And a couple of things. Sleep is not just on its own. It's related to all the aspects we learn about in functional medicine. So it's related to nutrition, it's related to exercise, it's related to just that whole well-being component and how we deal with stress. And the other piece is functional medicine. It really looks at things at root cause, like what is causing this issue. And so I bring that to sleep. I bring that whole perspective of not just attacking sleep as if it's just this isolated problem, but it's part of a whole setup, and everyone's different in terms of what aspect they need to deal with regard to sleep. And so I can really bring a whole holistic perspective to sleep as a result of that training. And so that's the grounding of how I come to deal with sleep.
That's excellent. And we're hearing so much more about functional medicine these days anyway. So awesome. A holistic perspective is so wonderful.
Yes,
and now
exactly.
Tell us a little bit about your favorite kind of clients. Who do you most like to work with, and what are some of the characteristics they have?
Okay, well, my typical client is fairly driven in a certain way. They tend to be professionals, or maybe managers, professionals, or entrepreneurs. And there's a kind of driven quality to people that has helped them with their profession, but also has made sleep more problematic often. So there's this, there's a lot of things we can leverage in that sort of driven, wanting to be one's best. And that is, you can apply that to your health. You can apply that same, being able to want to be your best to your health and to your sleep. But it sometimes people have sacrificed sleep for the other things that they're really driven by, and they've gotten by pretty well until maybe they hit 40, 50 or something like that, and it's not working for them anymore. So that tends to be the person that I work with. And I love working with people that are just motivated to be healthy and to be their best, and those tend to be the people that are coming to me as well. That's what drives them to seek out someone who can help them with their sleep, and they really know that sleep is important. I don't have to tell them that. They realize that, and they realize that it's affecting their whole well-being, not just physical health and their mental health, and that it's affecting their performance. So sometimes that's the rationale, or it might be there's a sense of my clients are also concerned about the people around them, and that can also drive them to want to fix their sleep. They might be short-tempered or grumpy or whatever, and not as good a parent or spouse or workmate. And so that also can be a driving factor in my clients coming to me.
Excellent. So let's talk a little bit about, do you have any specific focuses in dealing with the huge issue of sleep? And I know you get to root causes, but what are your particular areas of focus?
Yes. Well, I help people that just, feel their sleep is not optimum and they want to fix that. And the people that I particularly work with who are particularly motivated are people with insomnia. So what's insomnia? Insomnia, it's a word that's used for very, generically. So real insomnia is when somebody has a chronic problem with sleep, and typically over the course of, say, a week, they might not sleep well for maybe 3, 4, or even 5 times out of the week. They feel that they're just not getting a good sleep, and that it's chronic. It's been going on for a while, to the point where the person becomes anxious about sleep itself. Sleep and being able to sleep creates anxiety. And so that creates this kind of feedback loop for the person of, okay, sleep, I want to wind down, but I'm anxious about being able to sleep, and that creates more anxiety. And there's just a whole sort of loop that the person feels trapped in. So I help them get out of that problem with insomnia. And then sleep and insomnia, there's a cluster of issues around that. And often people who have insomnia have a certain kind of mental profile that also leads to maybe perfectionism or depression, or just sort of, getting more anxious about things. And I'm not talking about sort of clinical level, need a psychologist level, but it just interferes with well-being. It's a kind of it's kind of there as a background. And so I see fixing the sleep as a first step to a whole kind of cluster of things, which I call positive energy. So that's the other thing that I offer. And so that's mental, which I just mentioned, just being able to feel positively towards life and being able to get out of a rut or even see it coming before you get into the rut, and staying in that positive mindset. And that doesn't mean not having your ups and downs in life, but just being able to be resilient with it, being able to notice the kind of mental traps that you get into and being able to get out of them quickly. And then physical, like people come, what the problem with sleep and not getting good sleep is also people feeling physically not enough energy. And so then boosting it up, there's a lot of practices, and that's where I really bring in a lot of the functional medicine in how you eat, when you eat, moving, time to wind down all of that into life. And then I also bring in a spiritual side. And when I say spiritual, what I mean is feeling connected to the greater whole. And I have a master's degree in eco-psychology. So I bring in that sort of sense of the greater whole, however someone perceives it, as part of a sense of well-being, as part of a sense of having this positive energy that fuels one's life.
Oh, there's so much there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad I don't have sleep issues, but if I did, we would definitely have a conversation.
Yeah.
So what does the first session with you look like, Hilary?
Yes. Well, I first want to know everything I can about the person, their lifestyle, their routine, who's in their life, any past health issues. I could do a whole profile of the person. We start off with a questionnaire so I can really zoom in when we talk and really, drill down and use our time well. And I just need to know, obviously, sleep and how that's going and what might be affecting it. But a whole cluster of things. There's a lot of things that can really interfere with sleep and well-being in general. And I just want to know that, because to help someone with sleep, I need to know their preferences. What's their routine like? What is and what is not going to work for them. Everybody has their own life that this has to fit into. And so I need to know all of that stuff in order to really craft a program that is going to work for that person.
That's a very personalized approach with one-on-one. Now,
Yeah.
I think you also have a group program or some kind of a workshop. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
For sure. First of all, I also want to mention I work online all the time. So I work exclusively online, and it just works for both the client and myself to work that way. And so in terms of group programming, so I do offer group programming for people with insomnia. So I offer that as going through the Overcome Insomnia program, but with others. And it makes it more affordable, as well as you have, you can hear from other people. So you get that sense of, I'm not in this alone. And some people are going, oh my God, thank goodness I'm not like that. They feel better about themselves than they might have otherwise, because, the other person's problems might seem much worse than your own. So there's that. It works really well that way. And then another program I offer is called Fix Your Sleep, and it's a do it yourself. It's structured so people get the program offered in that structured way, and they can go through it, in their own time as they wish, and it makes it more affordable for people to have it that way. And some people just prefer that kind of structure. And then I also offer, however, a complimentary group that people can opt in to if they want, along with that, if they feel like they need that extra motivation and accountability that comes from and opportunity to ask their questions and all of that. So I offer that as a possibility as well, to complement the do-it-yourself. And sometimes people start do-it-yourself and then they go, oh, I need some help.
I love that, because sometimes people are at different places. So if you want to start on your own, great. If you need somebody else to help you right off the bat, awesome. but you allow those different options. So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now let's take this a little bit more into the personal, Hilary, and
Sure,
get to know you.
Yeah.
How do your friends describe you?
Well, one thing that actually surprises me over the years that people tell me is they find my energy very calming. And I'm surprised because there's so much going on inside of me.
That's funny because I'm not surprised at all by that.
Okay, yeah, because you that's what you see. I guess that's the energy I emit. So that's great. I mean, it's good for clients, and it's helpful. But for me, it was a surprise. But I hear that a lot, so that's why I'm mentioning it. And I'm a good listener, so I'm more of a listener than a speaker, which is why I was a facilitator before. I ask questions and allow other people to talk about what's going on with them. People notice I'm adventurous, so here I am in Mexico, so I'm learning Spanish, so that that's a piece of it. I'm always doing something different or learning something different or going somewhere different. I love traveling and just exploring new things. Even if I'm not traveling, there's always some adventure to be had. I'm really love learning. Like, I just lap up learning stuff and constantly reading and curious and bring that, of course, to my coaching practice. And the way it benefits clients is that if something is just different from what I know, I'm going to figure that out. I'm going to find out what it is. And just to provide a little example of that, one client I had spoke about just the breathing of her husband's breathing really angering her. And something about that, just like, wow, that's not the norm. And the chewing, hearing chewing and stuff. So I just did some research on that and discovered something I didn't know about before called misphonia. And it was interfering with her sleep, and it had been an issue all her life. So I just did the research to learn about that and how do you resolve it. And so that's just an example of it. It was something new, and I'm just curious. Okay, what is that? How can we fit this in? How can we build this into the program and learn from it?
There's so much to you. This is great. I still look forward to getting to know you more. And just briefly, what do you do in your life to stay healthy?
Well, of course, I sleep. I make sure I get a good sleep every night. And it's not that every night I do get a good sleep. So, just to normalize it, sometimes you don't have a great sleep, but I don't freak out about it. I just know what to do. But most of the time I have a great sleep, but it's important. And I structure my life to make sure that I sleep well and eat good food. I cook my own food. I like cooking. I like eating the food that I cook, which helps make sure it's sourced well, all of that. Take time for exercise, make sure I love outdoor sports. I love nature. So I try to be outside as much as possible. And right now in Mexico, I'm hiking a lot. At home, I would swim swim and cycle in the summer and ski in the winter. So I'm always doing something outside. I enjoy yoga, I practice meditation, and I take time to just unwind. So right now I'm here on this balcony outside. You can see outside there's this beautiful garden behind, and just being is so important and de-stressing, and being in nature really does it. So those are the things that I really focus on to stay healthy and balanced in my life.
Wonderful. As we draw this conversation to a close, what's one thing you would like to invite or challenge or inspire your listeners with today?
Well, a couple things, but one thing is that you can fix your sleep. A lot of my clients come to me feeling doubtful. Some of them have not slept well for decades, but something clicked in them to say, okay, I need to fix it. So, you really can fix your sleep. And it could be a bunch of things, The reason, by the way, people think that they can't fix their sleep is because they've tried a lot of things on the internet and they haven't worked. But that is because they've tried all these random things and not done them, in a way that really results in feeling confident about sleep and not really knowing what works. And the other thing I want to say, so anyhow, you can fix your sleep. It's many people have. It's about finding the right things that work for you. And the other thing I want to mention is that many people know in their heart of hearts what they need to do. Not that they just need one thing, but there's often a big thing that's kind of getting in the way. And for example, one client in the coaching program said, I wonder if I need to lower the temperature in my bedroom. And I said, yeah, that makes sense, because we do need to actually sleep in a cooler environment than our daytime environment. And he did that, and that made a huge difference for him. So he knew it, but he wasn't really listening to himself. Mm-hmm. And it can also take the form of an adamant denial. So another client said, okay, you can tell me to do anything, but don't tell me to shut off my TV at night. And of course, we did get into that, but she needed, I guess, this, it was kind of like a comfort, coping strategy for her. So she needed to feel all these other pieces and realize that, having your TV on at night wasn't congruent with all these other things she was doing. But just to say that, trust your intuition, listen to yourself. About sleep and everything else in life, listen to your inner wisdom. So that's the other thing I want to leave listeners with is to listen within.
I love this whole conversation. So thank you, Hilary. And if anybody is watching this who has a sleep issue, Hilary is definitely at the top of your go-to list. So thank you very much for being here with us.
Thank you, Esther.